What's up, everybody? Today, we're going to talk about the Senior Bowl. And today I have a special guest, Emory Hunt from FootballGameplan.com. He's been there on site, scouting the game and having a closer look at the players there. So, I've known Emory here for a couple of years now. He does great work there at FootballGameplan.com. You got to check out the website there. But right now, we're going to talk to him and pick his brain here on some of the prospects that were at the Senior Bowl, okay? So let's get right into it. But before we do, it's cap mode time, because this is serious stuff, okay? We're talking about the draft, players that can help the Cowboys. I love draft season. It's my favorite time of the year. My favorite time of the year, okay? So let's get right into it. Hey, what's up, Emory? We got you on the line?
Yeah, what's going on, Joe?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Out here doing my thing, man.
Yeah, I know, man. I've seen those. I've seen your footage, man. You're doing some work out there.
Trying, man. It's just been hectic. It's like nonstop. It's back weeks.
I bet, man. Man, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule to do this with me, man. I really do appreciate that.
Nah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, man. So just to get things going, can you give some of my viewers your address and how to get a hold of your site and where to see your videos at?
They can follow me on Twitter at FBallGameplan. That's FBALL Gameplan. I'm on the website as well, FootballGameplan.com. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have all of our updated videos each and every day at youtube.com/FootballGameplan.
Oh, yeah. And he's got some great stuff out there, man. I've been following Emory here for a while now, and he puts out some of the best work out there, especially he's got interviews out there. I saw you posted some interviews here recently for some of the guys there.
Yeah, we interviewed, it's funny, last week at the Shrine game, we interviewed 40 players. This week alone, just on Tuesday night, we interviewed 30. So we're going to be rolling out the rest of these interviews tonight and into tomorrow as well.
Oh, man, that's great. That's great. Man, how's draft season, man? Are you pumped about this? I know this is your bread and butter, man. How are you feeling about this Shrine game last week compared to this upcoming game?
Well, it's kind of an appetizer that gets you ready to go for the Senior Bowl week because it's a little bit more laid back, and the Senior Bowl is a little bit more rigid and corporate, so to speak. But, for me, doing mostly color commentary all season long, now is the time where I really start diving into draft prospects and really breaking down film because, each and every Saturday I'm calling football games. I do the color for Georgetown Hoyas football games, all their home games. So I've done 6 games of those this season. I've done some Division II games. I've done some Division III games as well. So I haven't been able to go out and scout as much as I have in recent years, which is a great thing. I'm still doing my thing when I do have off weeks. But right now is when I really start to dive into the draft prospects.
That's awesome, man. You're doing great work, man. It's just awesome that you get to do what your passion is. That's the best part of it. All right, man, Emory. So let's get into it, man. Who are your top 5 players from the squads here?
You know what? It's tough to rank 1 through 5. There is a couple of guys that have stood out in multiple positions, but I like to say the one guy that has stood out to me the most is Chad Williams of Grambling State. We saw him at the Celebration Bowl have a really good game against North Carolina Central. He just carried that over to the NFLPA game in which he got called up to come and play in the Senior Bowl. So he's one that has really stood out the most to me, a guy that has tremendous hands. He tracks the football well. He's a smooth route runner, and he's put on a show this week in Mobile. Another defensive player that stood out this week, I believe, is Brendan Langley of Lamar. Long corner. I think he's either a former Baylor or Georgia Bulldog transferred down to Lamar, and he's playing great football out here as well. 2 offensive linemen I thought were outstanding, and that's Julien Davenport of Bucknell. I covered the Derrick game once when they played Georgetown, and he looked like the pro that he is, and there's a big reason why he's here. He's had a phenomenal week. Conor McDermott of UCLA was tremendous as well all week long. Ethan Posick as well. So there's your 5 guys I thought that stood out the most this week.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. All right, Emory, I'm just going to go over a list of guys here. I just want to get your input on some of these guys here. Chad Williams was my number 1 guy here I was going to ask you about, so I'm glad you touched on him. Do you see him as like a possession receiver, or can he play in the slot, or how well-rounded is he?
I think he's more of an X. He played exclusively that position at Grambling. They had another really good wide receiver that should be an NFL player in Julien Hunter. That was your Z, and he also spent time inside as well. Chad Williams stayed mostly aligned up at the split-end position, so I think he's more of your X, your prototypical X at the next level.
All right. What are you expecting out of Chad Williams in this game? Do you see his draft stock going a lot higher than where he might be projected if he has a good game here?
I think so. I think this week alone has raised his draft stock, because I think people thought him coming in late, which was impressive because, again, he was at the NFLPA game, not even a Shrine game, and Zebro called him up from that particular game. So I think his stock has risen a little bit. You also look at how he's performed all week long. So I think this guy could really find himself going in maybe the 3rd or 4th round.
Okay. That's good stuff, man. And let's talk about Zay Jones out of East Carolina. Of course, obviously, as a Cowboys fan here, we know that the bloodline here to Robert Jones, former Cowboy, he's looked good in practice from what I've seen on NFL Network. But what's your viewpoint of him? What's your opinion?
He's a really good receiver, man. I was at the game when they played Temple, and again, that's the game he broke the receiving record, the FBS record for receptions in the season. And I think he's more along the lines of a slot receiver, an inside receiver, maybe a Z as well. I think the way he's able to run routes and just catch the football, no matter whether or not he's going deep down the field, intermediate, or even short. So I think he would be a receiver that can play multiple positions, and his route running, more so than his speed, will get him open more often than not.
Okay. All right. What about Sam Rogers, the fullback out of Virginia Tech?
People are going to underrate his game because, and I hate to say it because he's a white fullback, but when you watch him play, he has great acceleration. He's a terrific route runner. He has natural running skills. He can function as a single back in any offense. And I think because of that stereotype they're going to lay on him, they're going to try to make him a blocker. But I think he's better suited as just maybe an attached fullback somewhere. You just keep him on the move, maybe to kick out or a wham block or something like that. But don't sleep on his ability with the ball in his hands as a runner, as a receiver, and he can actually run routes better than some tailbacks can. So he is very versatile. I'm a big fan of his game, and I hope he gets a real opportunity at the next level.
Yeah. I saw I saw some of the comments that you had on some of your live videos earlier, and that prospect piqued my interest. That's something that I think the Cowboys could put into their wheelhouse. What about Haason Reddick?
Yeah, Reddick is a guy that I watched a couple. I've been to about maybe 6 Temple games over the last 2 seasons, and Reddick played all over the field. I mean, he came in as an offensive player, ended up being on the defensive side of the ball, and his body type is not there yet. He's 230. I think he just got to 230. He may even be 215. So you're not going to see him do a lot as far as setting the edge or doing things like that. He's a speed player.
Yeah.
And I think his athleticism will help him out in covering backs. He does a great job in coverage. He showcased that this week, and I think that's one of his skill sets that's going to make him a valuable asset moving forward.
You think he projects as at the next level as a Sam linebacker or inside linebacker?
I think you'll see him utilized like the Steelers utilize Ryan Shazier.
Okay.
They do a great job of keeping him clean and allowing him just to play fast and play to his strengths. I think that's where you'll see Reddick.
All right. And what about Banner out of USC? What did you see out of him? Any potential there as far as like a tackle, right tackle?
Yes, but you want to see him be a little bit more light on his feet. I know that's tough to say for a guy that's about 350, 360, but you want to see him play a little bit quicker because he was getting beat by speed rushers constantly all week long. But once he locks onto you, you're not going anywhere. So if he can be a little bit quicker, a little bit light on his feet, I think he'll be just fine.
Oh, gotcha. All right. And what about Davis out of Chattanooga? What did you think about his practices, and how do you think he'll project at the next level?
I think he's your quintessential 4-3 defensive end. I like how he really is able to convert speed to power. He finds a variety of ways of getting to the quarterback, which I like. And I know he was well coached at Chattanooga by Kerry Bailey, who's now the defensive line coach at Richmond. So he does a great job with his defensive linemen, and Keionta Davis is the best defensive lineman he's had in a very long time.
Okay. What about Fred Ross out of Mississippi State? Obviously, a lot of fans, the Cowboys, have some interest in him. He was, Dak Prescott's primary guy when they were playing there together. How's he looking out in these practices?
He's been okay. I mean, he hasn't stood out. He hasn't underwhelmed. I think he's fit right in, which is what you expect a lot of these guys to do out here. They have a lot going on. You're dealing with body fatigue because you have these interviews that can run until midnight for some players. Then you pop right back up, come back into meetings and things of that nature. So he hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been spectacular, but he did fit in well here, and he had a really good day today.
Okay. What about the Cooper kid? Where do you see him? Do you think he's going to get a senior bump out of this game if he does well in this game?
I think just his resume alone just speaks for itself. He really could have came out here and just dropped every ball, but his resume on tape is that strong, because he put up numbers against Washington, put up numbers against Washington State. He put up numbers throughout the course of his career. I mean, he was a 4-time All-American, Jerry Rice Award winner, Walter Payton Award winner, and broke all of Jerry Rice's records. So I think his tape alone is good. I think he's going to be a solid second-round selection maybe.
All right. And two running backs I want to talk about. Kareem Hunt out of Toledo. How do you think he's going to do in the game here from what you've seen in practice?
He's going to do exactly what he did at Toledo. He's a very good runner. He has great vision, excellent hands. He runs behind his pads and does a great job in accelerating through a hole. And I think he's an underrated 225. A lot of people may look at him and think he's probably maybe 209, 210, but they're going to run up on him. He's going to run through arm tackles. He's going to outrun people to the end zone.
Okay. And Jamaal Williams from BYU, he's got some size here that the Cowboys like. What is he, about 6 foot?
About 6'1", 225, and he runs for a tall guy. He runs tall, but he doesn't have bad pad level. A lot of times you'll see tall guys, let's say like the difference between a Latavius Murray and the difference between a James Starks. Both run tall, but Starks runs a lot better, runs with better pad level than Murray. And in my opinion, I think Starks is the better back. And Williams is of that same caliber, a guy that runs tall, has good feet, has good vision. Another part of his game that's being underrated, he's a very good block.
All right. Who are you looking forward to the most in the game as far as what you saw in practice and how it'll translate into the game?
The quarterbacks. I mean, if you look at the North squad, they've had their issues all practice long. Sans Nate Peterman, who's been solid, who's been the best quarterback on the North squad. You want to see how Cepho Lupal plays. You want to see how C.J. Beathard plays. And on the South squad, you want to see Antonio Pipkin step up and show better anticipation throwing the football. If those things can come together for those guys, I think you're going to see a lot of points scored in this Senior Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the questions I had for you, Emory. So, man, I really appreciate you taking some time to answer some of these and get, some of our viewers some, shed some light on some of these players. Is there anything else that you can say about the game here that's coming up on Saturday?
You're going to see one of the most complete tight ends in college football and coming into this draft in a very long time, and O.J. Howard of Alabama. He has put on a show all week long, blocking, catching, running after the catch. He's going to be tremendous moving forward.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about him too, man. I have a feeling that this guy's gonna go high. What do you think he could if he blows this game open? You think it'll just be another cherry on top or what?
Yeah, I think it's just another cherry on top. He was criminally underutilized at Alabama, but it helped him become the blocker that he is, and that's why he is a complete tight end. So I think how he does in the game, if the quarterbacks are able to get him the football consistently, he'll do just fine.
All right. What about yourself, Emory? What's next on your plate here? Or do you do any of the combine stuff, or what's next for you guys?
We may be at the NFL Combine. I know I plan to go to a regional combine in Washington, D.C. I did one last year in Baltimore, and it was great. See a lot of underrated guys. You got a lot of interviews, got a lot of prospects that you covered throughout the course of the year. See them out there working out. But initially, what's going to happen once I get back to New York City, I'm going to lock myself in a film room and just break down all these prospects from quarterbacks all the way to the specialists and get my prospect rankings videos out by the mid part of February. So that's going to be first and foremost what we got going on.
All right, man. We'll be looking forward to that. Yeah, I love watching those videos. All right, Emory. Well, I'll let you go, man. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I appreciate you coming on the show again.
Anytime, Joe. Keep chopping wood, man.
All right, man. Later. All right, so that was our interview here with Emory Hunt from FootballGameplan.com. Obviously, he has a high wealth of knowledge from these players. You definitely got to visit his site. Go to his YouTube channel. He definitely has a lot of interviews, and you get more in-depth information. He's one of my go-to guys when it comes to the draft. You have like the mainstream guys and things like that, but Emory has good quality stuff out there. He goes out, he gets stuff done at the East-West Shrine Game, obviously, and at the Senior Bowl, and all this knowledge that he gave us right now is pretty interesting stuff. Just getting a first-hand account from the guys out on the field, because it's different. Watching stuff on TV and taking other people's information from what you read online, but when you hear it from guys like Emory who are there on site, it brings a lot. It brings a lot to the table. A lot of credibility. So that's it, man. I hope everybody enjoyed this brief interview we had with Emory, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.